welcome to my channel. My name is Bianca and today I'm going to do my physical classics TBR. I have a lot of books and I've been doing quite a bit of unhauling, but as I do unhauling, I do a bit of book buying, so I have done some damage. A lot of these books have accumulated over the past few weeks because I have a newfound ignited interest in reading more classics. I'm a huge cover person. Cover art matters to me a lot. I love looking at cover design and talking about it, so I did specifically choose a lot of these because of their covers, but not just because of that. Some of these were books that I've been wanting to read for a while and I was just waiting for the right cover of it to come along, and I found those. So today I'm gonna go over all of the books on my physical classics TBR, and I guess we can just get started with some books I ordered from Book Depository that I got last week. It was actually a little bit sad. I ordered 7 books and the package showed up on my doorstep open and only 5 of the books were in it, and one of them was just like out, like on my porch, just dropped. And one of my roommates brought it in and she told me that it was already like that when she brought it in the house, so I guess in transit somehow the package opened and 2 of the books fell out. They did refund me quite promptly, so that's good, but I'm sad that I didn't get the other 2. But it's okay. The rest of them are here and they're beautiful. They got a little bit dinged up, but as to be expected from traveling across the world. Wow, this is funny that I picked this one up first. So here we have Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. This is the Penguin English Library design and it's so beautiful. I find this funny that this is what I picked first because I have the Kate Bush song Wuthering Heights stuck in my head right now, because I'm also filming a bunny review. Ooh, my bookmark fell out. I'm also filming a bunny review and there's a scene in here where Wuthering Heights is playing and it's like Kate Bush saying Wuthering Heights, and I was like, I've never heard that song, so I played it through the scene. And the scene was supposed to be kind of weird and having the song on repeat throughout a long period of time. So I just had the song on loop and it was a great experience. It was great. Anyways, here's the original Wuthering Heights, not the Kate Bush song. So if you're familiar with After by Anna Todd, it is a movie series now that I'm not a big fan of. But when I was 13, it was a Wattpad series that was Harry Styles fan fiction, and I used to read that a lot. And there was a lot of references to Wuthering Heights in that story. I'm assuming that the author, Anna Todd, drew some of her inspiration for, what are the names? Tessa and Harry from Catherine and Heathcliff. So I'm just so excited. I want to read a classic love story so bad because all the romances that I've read are just like modern romance books, and I'm just desperate to see like what love feels like from this perspective. Next, I ordered Jane Eyre, also the Penguin English Library edition. The next 2 that I'm going to show you are both Penguin English Libraries because they're just so gorgeous. And I forgot to show you the spines. The spines have these orange borders that just match up so beautifully. So it's like they're quite muted colors. Should I call it muted? I'd say they're pretty muted, but then they have this bright orange that just kind of draws them all together and they just look so stunning, like a little muted rainbow. I actually started reading this digitally and decided to just order the copy of it because why not? Also such a pretty cover with the red and purple. Are these leaves? Yes. Leaves. So stunning. Here's the classic I was most excited to order, Tessa the D'Urbervilles. It's got all these really cute chickens in it. I love this color scheme, and with the orange, I think it just looks really great. I actually read Tessa the D'Urbervilles in high school, but I didn't read the entire book. But what I do remember of it, I really enjoyed. Really excited to read or reread more Thomas Hardy. I'm just really hopeful that this will break my heart once again. And the experience will be just as upsetting and enjoyable as it was in high school. The last Penguin English Library classic I have is A Room with a View by E.M. Forster. I really can't tell you much about this because I don't know much, so I'll just read the back. In a sunny tale of love and liberation, Lucy Honeychurch is transformed by a character she meets on her first trip to Italy. Flamboyant romantic novelist Eleanor Lavish, the Cockney Signora, lower class Mr. Emerson, and most of all, his passionate, unconventional son. Returning to her traditional home and family, Lucy finds herself torn between the intensity of her experiences in Italy and the repressed morals of English middle-class society, a conflict personified in the two very different young men she finds courting her attention. Sun-drenched and optimistic, and exploring many issues of the heart at Edwardian life, the heart of Edwardian life. Radical thinking, women's suffrage, and constrictions on English social rules. This is a brilliantly witty love story. I didn't know there was love in this. I didn't know it was a love story. That's exciting. I just wanted to read something by E.M. Forster, and this is what I thought would be a good gateway. Okay, I don't know what this edition is. I have looked through the first few pages. All I see is it's Penguin books, but I've never seen a Penguin book look like this. I guess because it must be like a movie cover, because it says that this book has now a major motion picture from Fox Searchlight Pictures. It's Far from the Madding Crowd, also by Thomas Hardy. You've got like the little penguin in the front. You've got this really stunning cover that just feels really lovely. It's like that matte sort of material. And then kind of like the English library editions, it's got these borders, but it's blue instead of orange. So I have no idea what this collection is, but I really love it and I would love to buy more of them. So if you know, please let me know. I didn't know anything about Far from the Madding Crowd until I saw it in a secondhand bookstore that I frequent, and it sounded really good. I read the first like 3 pages of it while I was there and thought it would be enjoyable. Also on the Goodreads reviews that I read, it was saying this is like the original good country girl meets bad boy story, and I was like, yes, we're reading that. Here's the back. Independent, beautiful, and headstrong, Bathsheba Everdeen finds herself attracting 3 very different suitors. Gabriel Oak, a humble sheep farmer, Frank Troy, a handsome and reckless sergeant, and William Boldwood, a prosperous and mature bachelor. Each of them, in their own way, unsettles her decisions and complicates her life. The story of Bathsheba's choices and passions explores the nature of love and how the human spirit can overcome hardship and adversity. This just sounds fun, and the cover, I'm not going to lie to you, the cover is the main reason that I picked this up. Because I have seen this book multiple times at that same bookstore, but never this version of it. And I would have gotten to it eventually. I would have caved eventually, but this cover is what made me pull the trigger, and I'm not mad about it at all. I guess just sticking with the penguins, this is one of my pride and joys. It is so, so beautiful. This is the Penguin Classics Penguin Orange collection, which was for their 70th anniversary. This trifold, I think it's trifold. The tri-band book design was created in 1935 with the modern touch of French flaps for the cover art. And goodness, the cover art is just so, so, so beautiful. Here's the back of it, the paws, and the spine. I just think this is so lovely. I love that too. Yeah, I saw this sticking out like from the spine. I was like, who are you? And yes, this is the only nonfiction classic, I believe. Maybe the John Steinbeck's that I have might be nonfiction, because he does have some nonfiction work. I don't know, but to my knowledge, as of right now, this is it. I believe this is about a man who goes through the wilderness of Nepal. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just going based off what I remember searching up about this. And it's just his discoveries about himself as he travels through the wilderness. I read a couple pages of this in the beginning as well, and I liked the writing style. I loved the beautiful artwork, and the rest of the collection are works I'm more familiar with and want to read or have read. White Noise by Don DeLillo, which I had to read for school last summer, 2 summers ago, and I enjoyed. We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. I haven't read, but I love the Haunting of Hill House Netflix series, and I want to read that book. So if Shirley Jackson's here, maybe I'll like it. The Call of Cthulhu is here. The Crucible is here, which I've read and I enjoyed. Okay, I guess just White Noise and The Crucible are the only ones I've read on this, but it just looked good, and I think it will be good. Okay, now I'll just show my 2 John Steinbeck books together, even though they are different editions. So I picked these both up from a secondhand bookstore. This is The Pearl. So beautiful, this cover. It seems to have been like some kids, like maybe brothers or friends, donated their John Steinbeck books to this bookstore that I shop at, because they both had like names on it. Here's Aaron's book. And my boy Aaron did some annotating seemingly for school, and his friend annotated, I think it was Of Mice and Men was the other one that was there, but his friend did so much more annotating, I couldn't do it. So I only took Aaron's book because his annotations were minimal, and I've been wanting to read The Pearl for a very long time. I've only read Of Mice and Men when I was maybe like 12 years old. There's a picture of John Steinbeck. That's pretty cool. I'm very excited to read this book. I really don't know what it's about. I'm assuming a pearl, and it's just beautiful ocean scenery on the top. I just really like this cover and the blue penguin. And oops, here's the other John Steinbeck book I picked up. This is The Moon is Down. I know this had a lot of discourse when it was published and was kind of considered a work of propaganda, which made me very interested to see what is in here. And this is just my favorite type of penguin classic with the original orange penguin on it, as opposed to these penguin classics that don't have the penguin in the orange circle anymore. I prefer this. Occupied by enemy troops, a small peaceful town comes face to face with evil imposed from the outside, and betrayal born within the close-knit community. Yeah, I'm really interested to see how I will enjoy John Steinbeck's writing. I'm hopeful that he will become a new favorite of mine. Then we'll just go on to the book I was just comparing it to, Letters to a Young Poet by Rainer Maria Rilke. I also got this on Book Depository. It just seemed like it would be very inspirational to me. I saw a few YouTube recommendations of this book, and it was supposed to be really great life lessons in it, but also obviously great for poets or writers, and I'm a writer, so I thought this would be good for me to read. I cannot think of a better book to put into the hands of any young would-be poet as an inspirational guide to poetry and to surviving as a poet in a hostile world. That review is by the Times. So, also quite excited for this. It's super short. It's like 65 pages. No, 62 pages. Hopefully this will be in my next monthly reading review, because I want to get to this very soon. Continuing on with my regular penguin classics, I have Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. I really liked this cover. It's got some water damage on it. It was only $3.50, so I reasoned with it, but then as I was looking at it, I was like, maybe this is mold. So, can anybody tell me, how do I discern whether this is water damage or mold? Because I'm scared. I really hope it's not mold, because the pages look pretty not that yellow. Like I've seen books that were far yellower. Like the tops are pretty yellow, but then when you open it up, it's still pretty white. So I don't know. I've wanted to read Great Expectations for a long time, and I thought this is perfect, really cheap version of it. It was now too late and too far to go back, and I went on, and the mists had all solemnly risen now, and the world lay spread before me. I'm okay with going into books quite blind. I honestly prefer it that way sometimes, but I may watch a movie adaptation of this first so I can get myself a little hype for it, because I really don't know what Great Expectations is about. I know there's a woman who like stops time because she was abandoned at the altar, maybe, questionably. I think that's what I know. So yes, if you have a movie or show recommendation, because I know there is a show as well, or maybe the show is still coming out, but whatever adaptation of it is your favorite, please let me know so I know which one to start with. Yes, I would appreciate that. Then I have Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. This is both of the stories combined. It's really thick considering those are both quite short, but the introduction is really long. I think, yes, all the way, this whole section is just intro, and then we've got the two stories here. And this is also the illustrated version, so that's super fun. I loved this cover. I did actually have a cover of Alice in Wonderland. It was a hardcover Wordsworth edition, but I gave away all my Wordsworths yesterday, actually, because they're just really poorly made. They're beautiful cover design, but they feel terrible in my hands. They're kind of small. They rub ink off a lot. The bookseller who works at the bookstore that I go to the most didn't even want to buy them because he doesn't like Wordsworths either. and I donated it to him because he has kind of like a free library section outside of the store, so I just left them with him anyways because I didn't want to look at them anymore. But that was okay because I found this lovely edition that he had in his store, and I think it was only $4. Yeah, I got this for $4. So that was awesome. Then I have Dubliners by James Joyce. I decently like this art that's here. There was also the Penguin Deluxe edition of this at the bookstore, but I decided to go with this one because it was just extremely floppy, like beautiful to just hold on a table and know that it'll like sit open for me. I liked the boldness of the font in this edition. And it was only $5, I think. Yeah, it was $5, and the deluxe edition was $9 or $8, and it wasn't nearly as floppy, even though it was a really cool cover. I liked it better. But I do like this one a lot too. I find that I never tire of a good Penguin classic black spine. It'll stay in my library forever. James Joyce's Dubliners is one of the, I want to say, forefathers of the short story. And this was assigned for a literature course that I actually dropped in the beginning of this semester. So I never got around to reading it, but I still was interested because I have taken another literature course by this professor in a previous year, and I really liked the works that she put on her reading list for that course. So I trust her taste, and I think I'm going to enjoy this. And because I love Sally Rooney, I seem to also love Dublin culture and just the way that people from Dublin speak and the bluntness of it and casualness of it. So I think I'm going to enjoy the setting and the culture of this book a lot. And I won't spend too much time on this classic. This is Nana by Emile Zola, because I have mentioned this in another video, but this is about a prostitute in France who becomes like the prostitute. She's like the it girl and everybody loves her, and she has this life of debauchery and luxury. Her slightest movements fanned the flame of desire, and with a twitch of her little finger she could stir men's flesh. Then I have my Penguin Deluxe edition of Cold Comfort Farm by Stella Gibbons. I have never heard of this classic until I saw it at the bookstore that I purchased it at, and gosh, the cover art is just hilarious. It's supposed to be, I think, like a spoof of those books that are all about farm life and how idyllic it is and beautiful. This is, I think it's a comedy, and it just looks hilarious. Like, it's got some people that you meet at Cold Comfort Farm. You have Aunt Ada Doom saw something nasty in the woodshed. Flora Post, the higher common sense. She's holding a book calling that. Elphine, a free spirit. Seth, a prime specimen of manhood. Reuben, a sad sack. Judith, Starketer, just leave her in her misery. Adam, washes dishes with a twig. Amos Starketer, there will be no butter in hell. It's got that right there. No butter in hell, that's my favorite. So it's got these little descriptions, and then it's got some of the animals on the back. It just looks so fun. And then I desperately want to go back and buy the other copy of this that was there, because they have the Penguin Black Spine Classics edition, and it's got like the regular, the black spine, the orange circle with the penguin, and then it's a cow. It's just a zoomed in close-up photo of a cow on the top, and it's so funny because I feel like you're so used to, at least I'm so used to seeing these editions with like these beautiful art, like kind of abstract and muted colors, whatever, and then that one is literally just a close-up of a cow's face, and it's hilarious to me, and it's only $5, so I just can't justify myself buying a second copy of this until I at least read this and seeing if I like it, because if I don't like it, then I'm not going to want it. But if I love this as much as I think I'm going to love it, I'm definitely going to go back and buy the other edition of it, because it's just hilarious, and I'm not above having 2 copies of the same book in my library if I love it. Then I have this stunning copy of Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf. I love the font. I feel like fonts can go really wrong. A lot of books have fonts I don't like, but this is just, it scratches an itch in my brain somewhere, and I just really love it. I don't know what Mrs. Dalloway is about either. Should we find out together? Mrs. Dalloway is a portrait of a single day in a woman's life. Mrs. Clarissa Dalloway is preoccupied with the last-minute details of party preparation, fresh flower shopping, new dress buying, and festive room decorating. As she readies her home for her friends and neighbors, memories flood her mind, and she is awash in the sensations of faraway times. Clarissa blissfully relives her carefree youth and early loves, stoically witnesses the approach and retreat of war's grinding realities, carefully re-examines the solid reasons behind her practical marriage, and hesitantly looks ahead to the unfamiliar work of growing old. In this revolutionary and experimental novel, the past, the present, and visions of the future melt together in each and every movement. Heralded as Virginia Woolf's greatest work of fiction, Mrs. Dalloway is not only a detailed rendering of a vivid human life, it is the outline on paper of human consciousness. I'm just really excited to read anything by Virginia Woolf. Also, bringing Bunny back up again, Virginia Woolf is mentioned a lot in this book, and I'm really enjoying Bunny, so I thought I would probably enjoy some Virginia Woolf as well. And this edition was really stunning. The spine is really cute too. And all of her books in this edition have the same sort of like stripy, I don't know, like, is that seersucker spine? And they look really good together. So if I enjoy this, I'm definitely going back and buying some more. This is a Harvest book, Harcourt Inc. Yeah, it's by Harcourt. That's the publisher. Then I have this super old copy of To Kill a Mockingbird that I think was my mom's. It's literally just like been in my house my entire life, and I carry it everywhere whenever I move. It's so yellow. And I've never read this book. I was never assigned it in high school, so I never picked it up then, and just haven't gotten around to it, but I know I should, and I will eventually, but I feel like this is lower on the list of the things that I want to read, so please, somebody in the comments, convince me to read this book. So the final books on my physical TBR are my 2 Jane Austen books, Pride and Prejudice and Emma. These were both actually gifts from my boyfriend, and they're just really, really pretty. These are the Barnes & Noble classic editions, which I just think feel so good. They're hard covers, but they're like bendy. They feel like leather, but they're not leather, so it's like pleather. The inside is so gorgeous. Got it on both sides, and then you've got like a quote on the back with these reflective kind of foil designs. Can you imagine anything nearer perfect beauty than Emma altogether? So here is Emma. And here's Pride and Prejudice. I love this blue. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. Is that universally acknowledged? I guess in this time period. So we will see. I'm really intimidated by these books because they are so big. Oh, also they have sprayed edges. This one's like a pinky peach and this one's green. I think the green looks so good with the blue for this one. It's really pretty. Yes, I'm very intimidated by these books. I think especially because I have them in these really decadent covers. I think I would be a little less intimidated if I had it in just like a penguin black spine as well. I can't decide whether I want to actually like hold this and read it. I'm not a big fan of how holding a hardback book feels in my hand, and I don't know if I want to write in these. And I love annotating my books, but this might feel too much for me to write in this. So I might have to still just buy like a $5 black spine to actually read, and then just have these to look pretty on my shelf. We'll see. I have read like the first 2 chapters of this and listened to it on audiobook, and I'm just so lost every time I do it. So I might need to watch the movie first so that I have an idea of what's going on, so I can have some more confidence as I go through this book. Well, those are all of the classics on my physical TBR. I do have other classics that I have read before, so I might make a video of the classics that I have read on my shelves. So thank you for watching this video. Make sure to give it a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to stick around and see more of my content. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.